Hey guys, this is Matt, and in today's video I'm going to go over the leg training template that I use for my own workouts, and I also use it to kind of structure the way I approach designing the leg workouts for a lot of my clients, whether they want to do it for their physique or if they want to do it for strength or a certain aspect of performance. This template's pretty malleable towards whatever you want to do. In this example, I'm focused on building strength and also towards being able to do pistol squats. That's my goal. And so you'll see me working towards that in this video. The thing we're going to go into is this whole body stretch, where I start with grabbing a bar. It's roughly around, it's right around the bottom of my rib cage in height. I grab it, and what I do is I press my feet into the ground, and I press backwards. What I'm trying to do here is keep my arms straight, let my back round, and that pressing motion is really actually going to be mostly working on my hamstrings, and this gets my entire posterior chain warmed up, and it also has been really good for my hamstring mobility. Um, I've always had a lot of trouble with my hamstring mobility. In kindergarten, I was the only kid who couldn't sit on the ground for longer than 5 minutes. I had to use a chair, and I think I just, I've always had really tight hamstrings, and in the past few years, I finally have had enough and have been doing this to kind of loosen them up. So what you'll notice is that I'm slowly working my way down the rungs. And when I get down to these two, I'm actually just kind of pulsating my upper body towards my knees. And this is really just kind of to pull myself past where it's comfortable for just a moment and then pull back up. And after I get to the bottom rung, I work my way back up. So next up we have downward dog into cobra, and I know a lot of people might watch this and think like, what does this have to do with a leg workout? I mean, right now you're working, this looks like it's stretching your shoulders and your back. What the hell are you doing? Well, honestly, like this is going to be a full body. This actually still hits my hamstrings, it warms up my calves, and yeah, it gets my thoracic spine ready for the amount of movement it's going to have to go through. And it's really more of that getting my whole body ready for movement in a nice, easy, and controlled way. And you're just gonna have to try it. This is gonna be one of the more beneficial things you can throw into your warm up before you do squats. That's really gonna let you pull that bar down into your back and remain stable. Next up in the warm up, we have the deep lunge. The deep lunge is, without a doubt, you have to have this in a leg warm up. If it's the only thing you do, do this. What this lets you do is practice that squat position one leg at a time. And you could really feel out, hey, what's going on in each leg. You can feel out, hey, this leg is having trouble in this range of motion, and this leg's having trouble in this range of motion. It's really important to spend some time down there kind of feeling it out. And if you see what I'm doing, I'm coming down and putting both hands on the ground, and then I'm using my inside hand to press against it. And this is so that I can kind of open up my hips and really kind of get that full range so that when I do go to squat, it's really easy for me to sit down and open up my hips and go all the way down. The assisted figure 4 squat, also known as the Hawaiian squat. So you want to go ahead and cross your leg over, and then you're going to grab the bar behind you. And grabbing the bar behind you is going to help stretch out your shoulders a lot, but if you have limited range of motion in your shoulders, it could actually become really painful. So start this one slowly. Go ahead and cross your leg over, sink into the squat as deep as you can, and try to keep your heel on the ground. If you notice mine comes up a little bit, that's because I have really limited ankle range of motion, and this is one of the things I do to actually further my ankle range of motion. Now if you notice, my ankle's staying firmly planted on the ground, and that's because as I do this, this kind of warms up my ankle, stretches out my glutes. This gets everything ready to fire and ready to rock. To really make sure I get some more ankle mobility in before I go into squats, I'll do these goblet squats where then you take the weight and you press it over one knee and you really try to push that knee beyond the toe to kind of further that ankle mobility. This has been popularized lately by Squat University, and it's really effective. You should definitely give this a try if you're suffering from limited ankle range of motion. And then for the last part of my warm-up, I just go ahead and do a few goblet squats with a nice light weight. This just kind of makes sure everything's moving correctly, my ankles feel good, my hips feel good, before I go in and do some of the heavy weights. So the first working sets we're going to do are going to be 3 sets of heavy squats. And, you know, like I said in the last video, I like to start with the 5-3-1 progression. A lot of my clients really like it. And for those of you not familiar with the 5-3-1 progression, basically that means that the first 2 sets are building up towards the third set being the heaviest. And on the heaviest one, you go for a minimum of 3 or 5 reps. And this is actually my second set. This here is my third set where I'm doing 275 and I'm going to go for a certain number of reps. I think this day was at least 3. If you're curious on how to set up a 5-3-1 progression, just Google 5-3-1 and powerlifting. You'll get all the information you need, and you should probably go on Amazon and just buy the book from Jim Wendler. The guy puts out so much free stuff. So following the heavy squats, we're going to do 3 sets of light to moderate squats, and really the rep range depends on your goals. If you're trying to pack on more muscle, go for higher reps. If you're trying to just maintain strength, go for lower reps. The point of this is so that you lighten up the weight and you kind of end your squats on the best possible form you could have, rather than being exhausted and just kind of cranking out the last rep. So first up in the accessory exercises is going to just be a quad, hamstring, focus superset. So you want your first exercise to really focus on your quads, the second one to focus on your hamstrings. I'm doing lunges and stiff-legged deadlifts here. You can go ahead and do like leg extensions for your quads and leg curls for your hamstrings, whatever you're comfortable with. And whatever you do, just make sure that it's challenging. I like to stay within the 6 to 9 rep range for these exercises. If you're trying to, pack on a lot of muscle, you might want to play around with higher. A lot of it's going to be based on your goals, but by splitting out the roles of each of those major muscle groups, you're going to kind of get better development overall, and that's really what we're after here. And lastly, the exercise you're going to want to finish on is what I call the skill development exercise. So with legs, there's always some movement that we can't do yet, whether that's pistol squats or if we have trouble with front squats, there's always something we could work on. And so I like to take this time to have people do 4 to 6 sets of between 1 to 4 reps. Keep it really low. There's long rest times in between. Pick a progression that you know you can do, and you just keep working at something. Because honestly, the only way you're going to develop the skill is to just keep exposing yourself to it. Repetition's the first behavioral factor of neuroplasticity. That's going to be the way we pick up any type of skill. So take this time and really drive it home, and that hopefully, if you end on a really good rep of the skill you're trying to develop, that'll help integrate that neural circuit, and that's going to be the one you're going to build off next time you go in. So always try to end on a really good rep of whatever skill you're trying to develop, and then that'll be it for the leg workout. And so to summarize, what we want to do is we want to start with a warm-up that really affects the whole body, and we're really looking for those things that are going to affect especially the squat. So we're looking for those things that open up the hips. We want to test and retest our ankle range of motion, and especially you want to think about what you're doing for your skill development. In this case, I was doing pistols, so you really want to do something that's going to be specific for that. I like to do those figure 4 squats, assisted figure 4 squats in the beginning that really helped it. And that way I get a good full body warm up in. I can, when I get to the squat rack, I can do a few sets with just the bar, maybe a few with just 135, and then I can jump right into the heavy sets. And then for the working sets for this template, you're going to start with 3 sets of heavy squats. I like doing a 5-3-1 progression. And if you're unfamiliar with what that is, you can Google 5-3-1 powerlifting. You're going to get a ton of articles explaining it, and you're going to get links to Jim Wendler's book on Amazon. I think it's like $4 now, so I could be wrong, but it's not expensive, and it's definitely worth the money. If you don't want to do a 5-3-1 progression, so people don't like to have it planned out like that, you can also do just 3 sets of 4 to 6 reps, where if you can do 6 reps easily, you need to increase the weight by about 10 pounds. But if you can't do at least 4 good reps, you need to decrease the weight. And that's kind of a self-modulating method you could do. What I don't like about that is usually you can do it for about 3 weeks straight, and then you have to take a deload. I don't like taking deloads that often. I like to take a deload about every 7th week. versus every fourth, but that's just me. Do the heavy squats according to your own preference. Following that, you want to do the 3 sets of the light to moderate squats. You can also do these in the form of front squats. They don't have to also be back squats, or you can do them in split squats. This is just another accessory exercise. I like doing a form of squats right after the heavy squats. And the reason for that is you get to take the weight, dial it down to about 75% of the heaviest you used for the first 3 squats. And this allows for a little better skill integration. Um, with motor learning, there's a bit of a recency effect. So the most recent thing is kind of the one that gets integrated the best. And so if suddenly you're doing heavy squats and, if you end on a heavy squat, you might be like, you're grinding that last rep out. It may not be so good. You don't really want that to be the skill that's integrated. Instead, if you dial back the weight, you can do a really, really good set. And that's going to let you kind of have a really good form integrated into your the next time you approach the squat rack. So for the accessory exercises after that, I like to do the quad hamstring separation, and you can work calves in there. I usually do. I didn't in this video, but normally I will also incorporate calves into that superset with just some sort of calf raises. Um, you're trying to hit each group individually just to get that little extra work. This is really beneficial if you only do legs day about once a week. It's not as important if you're one of the people that likes to do legs twice, 3 times, or even 4 times a week. But if you're doing it once a week, this is definitely something you want to work in. I find it best to stay in the 6 to 9 rep range, but you may like more or less. It's all about playing with it and see what works for you. And then the last set for this is that skill development exercise. If you're not interested in doing the skill development, you can go ahead and just do another accessory exercise, or you can do high intensity interval training. What I like about the skill development though is pistol squats are something I really want to be able to do. They kind of show a lot of range of motion and body weight strength that I don't currently have and I really want to develop. And the reason we put this at the end is, again, there's that recency effect. So we want the last thing we do, there's somewhat of a bias towards that, is that's what gets integrated in the most efficiently. So, I'm going to kind of do that 4 to 6 reps, 1 to 4 rep, long rests, or 4 to 6 sets with 1 to 4 rep with long rests, where I'm just trying to really make every rep as perfect as possible. And like you saw in the video of the pistols I was doing, I'm just trying to do 2 on each side. And what I want to do is end on the best rep I possibly can. Sometimes that's not the rep I was planning to end on, but if I have one that just felt perfect, I'll walk away. That really captures the benefit of that whole recency effect and allows me to integrate it better for learning the skill. And the next time I come back in, I'll be that much better. So I really hope you liked the video. I had a lot of fun putting it together. This is my second video on YouTube. I think it's a lot better than the first one, but honestly, I want to be able to look back at these early videos in about a year and be like, wow, I can't believe I used to make videos like that. I'm a lot better now. But honestly, I can't do that without your help. So what I need you to please leave your feedback, both good and bad, in the comments. Honestly, it's not going to bother me if you say, hey, your video sucked, as long as you tell me what I can do to improve. That's really what I want to do. So if you want to see the channel grow and develop, please hit subscribe. And if you're interested in the type of content I put out in the videos, then you'll probably like my blog and website, which has been around a lot longer, Brawn for Brains, which I'll put a link in the description for you to click on there. And hopefully you check that out and you like it. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Train smarter, train stronger.